welcome back to another episode of the Godly Gains podcast. This is your host, Naomi.
It's your other host, Michael.
And today is a very special day because if you notice, we don't have 2 chairs. We got 3 chairs.
Yeah, we got our first guest today. This is the homie Oscar Martinez. Some of y'all know him, some of y'all don't. But this is a homie that we've actually talked about you a few times on the pod.
Yeah, we have. This is our brother. This is not no homie. This is our
brother in Christ.
Like,
true.
So we're just gonna get into it. We don't know what we're gonna be talking about, but
we'll just see where God takes us.
Yeah. Anyways, enjoy. We love you guys so much.
You know, we're doing a multicam and you're trying to get the angle correct and you're just like, like the thing keeps tilting. Bro, I mean, getting so scared.
Dude, that's funny.
Cause the camera would like be still and then you let it go and it's like.
Oh my god, that's literally
that's
me
what
with
you
the
saw
mics.
me doing over here, bro.
Bro, that's the worst.
That's me with these mics. Like they're right here, and then by the end they're like down here. I'm like, cause it just
it just gets like quieter and quieter like throughout the show.
Exactly.
No, well, I actually did want to make a point. I remember we were supposed to film this last week, and just had like a very like gloomy, like very very gloomy day. And I remember I was just like, damn, dude, I don't think I'm like in the spirit to be like on a podcast, especially being like my first podcast, you know. And I don't. It was weird because I can't say. I don't know if it was like depression. I don't know what it was, but it was a feeling of just like. I wasn't present, if that makes sense. Like, I was not present at all. There was a lot of things that should have, like, pissed me off and sent me over the edge. But I just didn't care. I was like, you know what, bro, whatever. And it was weird. It was weird because I don't think I've ever had an experience like that where if something pissed me off, I just completely let go. This was just straight out, I just did not care.
Right.
I just felt very numb. I just felt very empty. Like, nothing made me happy. I locked in, like, a really good gig. And it was just weird, dude.
Did you feel like there was like no reason for that feeling? Like you were trying to pinpoint it towards like, why am I feeling like this? But it just was like out of nowhere type of feeling? Or do you feel like it came from like a reaction towards something that happened in your day that? I
don't know. That's the crazy thing too. It's like, so leading up to this feeling, like that morning, my sister just started like spamming like a bunch of pictures of my dad. And then I got word that they finally delivered his like gravestone. So I was like, okay, you know, like obviously he's been
Más, un poco más.
Wait, like up here?
Yeah. Like, you see how close it is to me and Nate? It's pretty damn close. Yeah.
Hey, imagine.
Always overshoot because
it's just like, bro.
Imagine I'm just like, bro, I miss my dad. you just see this finger just start pushing. But no, yeah. So
that's good.
Like, so like leading up to like that day, dude, like he's been on my mind right the night prior, and then that morning, just like getting a bunch of like pictures like in the group text of him, and it was crazy too. I took my truck to the corner spot to get a smog check, and I don't know if you guys remember the photo that I had at his funeral.
Yes.
It was like of him with like on top of the truck.
Yeah.
Bro, I saw the exact same replica that
the truck
had. 100%. It was just a different color. And it was like right there by my crib. And like I just like stared at it and I was like, what? But but again, I was just kind of just like, oh dude, all right, my dad's here. My dad's sending me a message. But it was weird. It's like, I don't know, I just couldn't receive it. I took a picture of it and I sent it to my cousin and I'm like, hey dude, I was like, this is the truck he had, right? And he was like, yo, that's the exact same model and everything. I'm like, damn, all right, so my dad is like obviously here, right? And anyways, yeah, like so I went with my cousin Ruben. We were driving around doing some errands, and I passed by the graveyard, and I was like, you know what, dude? I got to go see my dad. I got to go see him. And even being there, dude, I was just so, like, numb the whole day. I was not feeling good. I said a prayer, and it was just weird. Like, I could definitely tell you, with that prayer, I made a lot of revelations because as I was praying, I started to realize where I was like, hey, you know what? I lost my dad, which was like the hardest thing ever, but look at where I'm at right now in life as far as like my career.
Right.
The glass business is booming, the video stuff is booming, like my family's united, like my relationship with my girl is great, like my homies are striving. Everything is great. And I just feel so numb to it.
Right.
So I just started having this revelation where I was like, hey, you know what, man? Like, this is really where your faith gets tested, you know? And yeah, and I don't know, I just kept thinking about my life, and then one thing I was 100% sure of was like, this is life though. You're gonna have these days where you're just sad, but what matters is that you pray. What matters is that you have a source where it's just like, oh, because I don't know, I feel like people have this misconception where it's like, once you start really getting into your faith, you're so happy and you're so that all the time, and it's like, nah, it's still real life. I still deal with shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, but the thing is, like, now when I'm dealing with it, it's not like, yo, what if this is the end? It's always like, oh, you know what? God is here with me, so this day is gonna pass, and He's just gonna keep me straight.
Yeah.
And so I remember like when you guys like asked if we should just move the podcast, I was like, yeah, like I'm definitely down to move it. You know what I mean? But I'm
also down to show up if I need to.
Yeah, if I need to, and like not put on like this act of like, hey guys, man, you know what I mean? Because
wow,
I don't know, it was weird, but I know by the end, like I was just like, damn, naming everything that like I have going on in my life, and I'm like, man, like shame on me, you know what I mean, for just being like, man, like everything is just so like, ugh, like nothing interests me, nothing, you know. It was weird, man. And then like, I remember I was supposed to get on a flight to go to Utah to film that like Snow White thing. And dude, I woke up that day and I was just so like, I don't want to get on this flight. I don't want to go to Utah. Like, I'm not excited for it. Like, I just want to be in my bed. It was just mad depressive, dude. Mad depressive. And then it got canceled because of, I guess like snowing or something. And it got canceled. Dude, I was so happy when it got canceled because I was like, okay, cool. I get to be home. I wasn't in my right mindset. I didn't want to be away from my family. But then I kind of sat there and I was like, damn, bro, shame on me, man. Like, shame on me.
Getting excited that it got canceled?
Yeah, man. Shame on me because, like, what, 2 years ago, a year ago, imagine, like, saying that, bro, you're going to be flying out, doing stuff for that Snow White film.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like if it didn't get canceled, like, you wouldn't also have appreciated it. Like, sometimes things need to be taken away in order for you to be like, shame on me, or, like, to actually appreciate, but not just appreciate. I think that also, like, that it was a good thing that it got canceled because you needed a moment to step away from what you do all the time. Because like when you do something so much, even though 2 years ago you would have like killed to be in that position, it does become your new normal. And like normal isn't exciting because once normal becomes normal, or like once things become normal, they lose their interest, or they lose the excitement. So I think that in that moment, you just needed to, like, all that needed to happen for you to step away and then be like, actually, you know what? Like, this is awesome. Like, I'm able to, like, I would have killed to do this. But if you went to the gig and everything, you would have been like, it's all right. Like, I'm here, but, like, whatever.
Probably would have been going through the motions.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Funny enough, I saw a quote today that said, I've been working so hard for my future that I forgot that I'm living what I once prayed for.
Yes.
And I was like, damn, bro, that's true, bro.
Yes.
Like, that's facts. Like, I'm really living like what, like, bro, I remember when I first started doing video, like all the plans that I had.
Yeah.
And then just like talking to homies that like I haven't seen in a while. And then they're telling me like, damn, dude, I remember like when you got into this, you were doing all of this. And like, you pretty much marked off everything that you had on your list. And it was just like, damn, bro, like, I really need to be more grateful. I should be more excited about the stuff that I'm doing. But
yeah.
But you know what that shows too, bro? It shows that you're talking about how we used to look at our future career and how excited we used to be, and then you get there and you feel this way. It just shows that everything eventually loses its, like, once you get high off of something from the world, it loses its high. But what never loses its high is God. And that's awesome because how you said before in the past, when we'd be put in this situation, we're just like, I just don't know what it is. I don't know why I feel this way. I feel numb. I feel secluded. I feel like disconnected. And we used to, you and I used to experience this, is we would go into this, damn, like the world is over and then everything is over and our world would become crumbling down. But it sounds to me, dog, like you had peace in it. And the first thing that I noticed in your story, the first thing I noticed in your story is that what you did to counteract that is immediately you went and prayed, and we never did that before, and that's where that peace comes from. And then what it like I'm saying, what it even highlights is that the thing that will never fade for you is God. Yeah. You know, as much as we wanted all these gigs and we wanted to travel, we wanted to make a name for ourselves. We're here and we're just like, bro, none of that matters. Like, it's just you. Like, I only care about what our Heavenly Father has for me.
Well, that's a great point, because like I did notice that as I started getting deeper into my faith, I started getting really disconnected with like materialistic stuff. Like, I just did not care anymore about just, I mean, I never cared about jewelry and stuff like that, but I just really don't care about it now. And even little things like, bro, like when we hear homies talking about how they get on PJs and stuff like that, I'm just like, I don't care about none of that, bro. and I don't know, dude. It's like this. I remember when I told you that when I had that show in Vegas, and dude, I got a room. Everything was comped. Everything like nice, super nice suite, huge room. Like everything that I wanted free in that fridge, and bro, everything in that fridge is like $50 for water, you know. And it was like, nah, dude, it's all free for you. And like, I remember just sitting, dude, I sat in that room and I was just so depressed, because I was like, bro, my fam's not here. I'm here alone. And then I really just, like, I prayed, and I was like, God, you know, just get me through this weekend. But I was also being like, God, I'm so sorry for being ungrateful. Like, I'm in this room and I'm just so depressed. I want to go home. Like, I just feel so sad. And yeah, I was just like asking for forgiveness, because I felt like hell ungrateful, because it's like, look at what the position you're in.
Yeah,
you know?
I want to pause you really quick right there, because like I feel like God has always known that the things of the world would never satisfy us. And so when we're not satisfied with the things that the world gives us, we think we're ungrateful, but God is literally looking at us like, I told you.
No,
It's not even that
does
you're
not matter.
like, he's like, I told you this wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to let you experience it so you could see. I'm going to let you have it, because I want you to, you know, I want you to finally see it, that like it was never this. But it's always that like, it's us attaching to that, like, well, what if I had that, or that might, you know, maybe it's the suite, or maybe it's this gig or whatever, but then you're in it and then you realize that. And I've done that before, where I'm like, am I ungrateful? And I don't think you're ungrateful. I think you're spot on. I think you're just actually seeing it for what it actually is.
Right.
Yeah. It's not a moment of ungratitude. It's a moment of realization that, hey, this ain't it.
This ain't it.
This really ain't it.
It's the little things. It's like, as long as I got my family, I got God, I don't care.
We were reading in, what book was it? Hevel?
Yes, Ecclesiastes.
We were reading Ecclesiastes, bro, and it's like, that's what that whole book is talking about. It repeats the word Hevel, which means that everything is vapor, everything is smoke, everything is fleeting, and it's talking about everything in the world. And it sounds exactly like what you're talking about, is you're having all these life experiences, things that I prayed for, like that quote that you said, I'm living the life that I prayed for, but it's all Hevel. It's all Hevel. Yeah. And the one source that we know that isn't Hevel, it's like, and I'm sure the moment you got into that prayer, it's like, for that moment, for that brief moment, you're like, that numbness, I feel you though. Like, even though I'm numb here, I feel you while I'm praying.
100%, dude. Well, you said it. That, honestly, dude, that was a turning point in my life, because that's when I really realized, like, my family is like God first, obviously, family second, but dude, I don't care. Like, my family comes first before work, always, bro. Like, I just had this moment where, like, I think I told you, no, that when I had a flight from San Diego to LAX, and I was so impatient for this flight, because I was like, dude, my dad's in the hospital. Like, I want to be with my family. Like, and the flight got delayed like an hour, and then I chilled, and then it got delayed for another hour. I'm like, you know what, bro? I'm not gonna risk for this flight to either be canceled or change another hour. So I bought an Uber, and I Ubered all the way from San Diego all the way home. I didn't even care about the price. I was like, dude, I just want to be with my family. And then, it's crazy, because I genuinely feel like God was like telling me, like, look, dude, these couple months are going to be so hard, but you're going to get every offer that you've always wanted, and you're really going to see what you want to choose, right? Because I got, not only did I get, like, doing that run, right, that Vegas and San Diego run, and like, just like, it was a great experience, don't get me wrong, but then I also got offered Rolling Loud Miami. So I also got offered EDC and in November, and it was all these big events that I've always wanted to do, and they all hit, and I was just so like is repelled the word? Like, I was just so like repulsed by, I was like, dude, I don't care about none of this. I don't want none of this. Like, I don't care about any of this. And then I was just so at peace, like, just being like, dude, I just want to be with my family, because I knew because I think Rolling Loud was the same week that it was my dad's funeral, so it would have been my dad's funeral, and then I would have gone on a flight the next day to go to Rolling Loud.
Damn.
Yeah, and I was just thinking to myself, like, no way am I leaving, like, my family, like, nah, like,
damn,
that don't matter to me, bro. So I canceled it, and I don't regret my decision. And then since I decided to take over, like, my dad's business, like, even with that, man, like I told you, like, I'm not returning back to day trip Sundays because I just refuse to, like, work on Sundays, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
good for you.
that's,
good for you.
you know what I mean? Like, that's just, for me, like, that's just family and church day. And, like, even if I don't do anything with my family, we're just at home, everybody in the room watching TV, I'd rather be there than being out filming. And
it's just crazy to me because, like, I remember when you first started your journey with the filming and you were saying yes to everything, like everything that came your way, you were like, I have to say yes. But, like, as you've kept going in the journey, you realize that now you really see it. This is a testament that, like, not every opportunity is from God. And for that reason, I don't have to say yes every single time. And what really matters, and there's people who will put that work, they'll put that money, they'll put that opportunity, like the chance to be on that stage, right, in front before their family, and thinking that it's like, well, the opportunity is presenting itself, like I have to go and get it. And you're learning that lesson that, you know, there's gonna be times where you're gonna have to choose, and, like, family will always be number one. And you've learned that, like, having those last moments with your father, like, I can't only imagine. There's people who have probably went to a job or something and then
in order to escape that grieving moment.
Yeah, or like, imagine finding out, like, your dad passed while you were, like, out in Vegas or something. Like, it's just different situations of that sort.
well, we were supposed to work Dream State the day that I told you that I thought he was gonna pass. Remember? It was a Thursday, and I remember, like, because he was already on hospice. So I remember we had to work. We were doing Dream State, and I remember I was just like, damn, am I really gonna run the risk of working a Dream State, and then something happening to my dad?
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. So, like, luckily, like, everybody looked out for me. They're like, yeah, like, it's cool, like, you know, don't work it. And I'm just so, like, he didn't pass during Dream State. I think he passed the day after Dream State. Or the second day of Dream State. When was Dream State? It was Friday, Saturday, right?
Friday and Saturday. No, it was Saturday, Sunday.
He passed, I think, Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, regardless of when he passed, like, those are 2 days you would have not been able to get back.
Exactly. So I was like, nah, man, like, I'm cool. And it's funny because I remember saying too, like, damn, if I lose my dad, like, I'm not gonna continue. Like, I'm not gonna do life without him here. And I was so sure of that, bro. And I was telling the homie Jerison, I was like, bro, shame on me for thinking that, like, yeah, if my dad, like, is gone, I'm gone too, bro. Like, there's no reason for me to be here. And then now being where I'm at, I'm like, whoa, bro, shame on me. What are you talking about, bro? Like, your mom needs you, like, your girl needs you, like, what? Like, it was just a crazy way of thinking, right? And I was just very emotional and stuff, but that experience itself, bro, brought me so much closer to God, because I just remember thinking, he passed, and if I did not have God in my life, dude, I wouldn't have peace. I would have just been a mess. I would have been just feeling alone, being like, yo, this is the end. My dad no longer exists. Like, that's it. In this world, he's done. And I did not feel like that at all.
Yeah.
Man. I was really, it's funny. I wasn't surprised during your dad's viewing and the funeral when I saw you cracking up. Like, I saw your eyes red, like you had been crying, because for sure you have moments like that, but you're smiling. Like, you're smiling in comparison to everybody else. And I had told you this before, like, when, you know, the few weeks before when it was, like, really dark, I had shared with you, I'm like, I don't know what God is going to do, but I know he's going to do something crazy, and you're going to blossom into this great young man, and this is going to, like, he's doing the work, and I mean, I even told you I'm excited to see that. And I really think a lot of that laughter, even my mom had told me too, she's like, wow, like, Oscar's smiling, you know. She's never really seen somebody smiling like at a viewing. I'm like, that's God right there. Like, it's because he has that connection to God.
Yeah, bro. It's a thing where I'm just like, I don't know. I remember, like, when he passed, I had this feeling where I started being like, damn, he's really with God. Like, I could only pray that I get there and do the works that I get there. He's there. You know what I mean? And, like, and I remember, like, I had this conversation with my aunt where I told her, I'm like, man, this sounds dark. This sounds dark, but it's kind of true. Where it's like, if I was in his situation, right, and like, I just had my eyes closed, and God came to me and was like, "Do you want to keep fighting, or do you want to come home with me?" Bro, I'm dipping.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gone.
I'm dipping.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what? Like, I got bills to pay, bro.
Yeah.
I'm dipping.
Yeah,
and then
You telling me I made it right now?
Yes.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go risk it.
for
Yeah.
what? Yeah, like, I'm
Yeah.
out. I'm out, bro.
Literally, yeah,
And,
literally,
and I told my mom that too. I was like, cause mom, think about it. Like, what if like God came to you and said, "Hey, come home with me or stay here. What are you gonna do?" And she just stayed quiet. And I was like, cause I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I was like, I know you're gonna be hurt, but when you see us in heaven, I'll be like,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Yeah.
You know? And like, it was funny. Me and this we had a conversation where I told him this. I told him I was like, dude, if I go to heaven and I don't recognize my dad, right, and I don't see that he's there, and I don't know if he is there, right, how would I feel? And I told him, I was like, well, I feel happy. I'm in heaven.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
so there ain't no pain over here.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
pain.
There's no
Yeah,
pain,
there's
man.
no pain.
And then I
Yeah.
started thinking about that too, because I was
Yeah.
like, there's no pain. It's only
That's such a
happiness.
good way to put it.
So even if like, let's say my dad, like my dad's in heaven, but like
The worst case scenario, like thinking
worst
about
case
that.
scenario,
Yeah.
he's in heaven. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So it's like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
he's all right.
Yeah, that's so good.
But nah, dude, that whole experience, really showed me a lot, and it's still teaching me a lot, man. Like now we pray before every job. That has really taught me, bro, that life is gonna get hard.
Yeah.
It's gonna get so hard, bro. But you're always going to be able to bear it. Because imagine losing, like, no, don't imagine it, but
Yeah.
bro, losing your father, the man that I spent years with, bro.
Yeah.
Years with, every day in the work truck with him, every single day for so many years. Like my hero, my idol, my best friend. Like I remember being a little kid and we had to draw a superhero, and I drew my dad. I have that vivid memory. To losing him, bro, I was there through everything. I was there when he got the first call that he had cancer, like the chemo sesh. Like I was there for it all, like all the doctor visits. Like I was always there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like I just kept telling myself, I'm like, bro, I'm losing a part of me.
Yeah.
And when it happened, and seeing where I'm at right now, finding a lot of peace in it, a lot of understanding in it, it just, anything that happens in my life now, it's like, this will pass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could be like financial. It could be like, I'm struggling right now, but I'm not like I'm screwed. I'm just like, it'll pass.
Yeah.
God, I'm gonna figure it out with God's.
Like you had my back the whole time, even this. Yeah. Paul, like Naomi, I like to talk about this a lot. I believe it's in Romans. He says, he learns to be content in life when he has a lot, and he learns to be content in life when he has very little. And that's a beautiful balance. Like that's what the Prince of Peace gives you. It doesn't matter what situation you're in. I'm good. Like I got because you're so faithful to me. Like I have no reason to trip right now.
Yeah.
Well, it's like in the book of Job. Like remember when he was just asking like, God, why me? Why'd you do this to me?
Yeah.
And he was like, what? He was like God's like number one like faithful, I guess, servant. Is that the correct word for it? And like all this happened to him, and he was asking like, God, why me? Why me? I never asked God why me. So I was like, Job did.
Yeah.
I was like, I did it. I was like, all right, like this is the plan. I'm following it.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the crazy thing though. Me and my brother started having this conversation when we really realized that when you ask God for something, you really, really got to be careful what you're asking. And you really, really got to make sure that what you're asking them is what you want under any circumstance.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring that up is because when my brother decided like, hey, you know what, dude, like I'm quitting my job to run the glass business with you. Dude, we started diving very deep into that conversation. And then I told Christian, I was like, you know what's crazy, man? Before like dad left, he just kept trying to find anybody to take over his business. He just wanted, like, it didn't matter who, he just wanted somebody to take over his business. And then I don't ever pray to God that he just wants his business to continue. But I started thinking, I'm like, man, like, what if God told him, like, hey, you know what? Your wish will be granted.
But you
your
won't be here to
business is
see
gonna,
it.
You won't be there to see it though, like physically. Do you still want that? And it's like, damn, you really got to be careful on what you ask God for. You know?
Yeah, I would take that like the next step. So like when you ask, I kind of like I'm gonna give you a little pushback on that, because you saying that like your dad, if he said like, oh, I wanted someone to take over the business, I don't think that we serve a God that's like, okay, well, like my will for you is to get cancer and then pass away. Are you saying like it was like, explain that to me, because I'm I'm thinking that you're saying that like that was in God's will to do that, and then you took over the business.
I meant it more as in kind of like, just make sure that what you're asking is what you really want.
Gotcha.
Right? I'm not saying like, because I'm gonna give you cancer to see if you still want it.
Yeah.
No, it's more like, under any circumstance, like, you just want your business to continue. If
Yeah.
that's what you really want.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I meant it.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah. Because it could be anything. It could be like, if you and your children fight and they don't talk anymore, but he took
Right.
over the business, are you okay with that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So you just really gotta ask, like, God.
Got you.
Be careful with what you ask him. Yeah, I know. I remember I said that like thought too, and I was like, man, that's actually kind of dark.
Do you think though? Because I've had this question before. Like, do you think that God actually gives us what we want, like for real, or do you think that God gives us what He wants for us? Because I've asked for a lot of things to God, and I believe that God hasn't given it to me because He knows it would lead to my destruction, or it wouldn't lead for my greater good. Like, it wouldn't lead to my greater good. I almost feel like with that is, I don't know, that sounds more like, in a way, like brujeria and stuff, like witchcraft, like wishing on, like, oh, I wished for this, like I wish this person would love me, and then like it actually happened, and then that person left their husband or something, and I don't know, that's just like a hypothetical kind of situation, but I don't know, like, about that. So do you think that God gives us what we want, or do you think He gives us what?
I think we have
What's
free
in
will, and I think that God gives us what we need.
Yes.
But He'll give you what you ask for, and then it's like, I think you have the free will, right? So for example, let's say you ask for fame.
Yes.
God, I want fame. I want people to notice me. I want money. I want all of this, right?
Yeah.
And God's like, okay, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give you free will.
I don't think God gives that to you.
But this is the way I see it. It's, I'm gonna give it to you, but it's not what you need. It's not what you need, and you know it's not what you need. So I'm gonna give it to you because you have free will. But we're gonna see how you maneuver that. Because like now, like the example that I guess I would say was like, let's say you pray to God that like you want fame, you want all of this, right? And then you get it, and you start to realize you're losing friends, you're losing the things that really matter to you and make you happy.
Right.
And then in the end, you really start to realize, you know what? I don't want fame. What I want is my family. What I want is like people that love me for me. Like, that's what I really want. And say, God's like, exactly, but that's what you need. You needed like people to love you. You want, like, that's what you need. That's what you need to like, keep you going forward in life. In life, not fame. Yeah. The happiness that you thought that you were gonna get from fame and money and all of that. Yeah. You're getting that with your family. That love, that appreciation, that adoration. You getting that from your family. And then that's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's also because we're human. So it's also up to us to like work and figure out what's bad and what's good. That's kind of more how I meant it. Obviously, I know like God's not gonna give you something like, bro, I want to be high. God's like, I'm gonna give you shrooms. No, not like that. Not at all.
I get you.
But it's like a lesson.
Yes.
Right.
But that's where I think that you were right on when you said we have free will, right? And you said that we can ask God, like, God, I pray that you would give me fame, or I pray that you would give me make me famous, right? Like, make this music career pop off. I think that, like, if that is in, like, everything has to be in God's will for you. Like, if God wills it, He will do it. Because I've read that multiple times in the Bible where it says that, like, God, whatever you ask in the name of Jesus, like, God will do, but it has to be according to His will. So I feel like the enemy entices us with the things we wish for and want, because I've heard it said before that manifestation can be dangerous
100%.
because not everything that you want is good for you. The enemy will also entice you and show you the wide gate of how you can get somewhere. Like, I know how to get famous. Like, I'll show my ass somewhere, and like, I could get famous. I could get that platform, and say like, oh, this was what I prayed for, but then I see, okay, this is not what I wanted, and then go back. So I don't know. I just feel like.
But you also said a point that's a huge point. You said going out of God's way to get that.
Yes.
At that point, you're not involving God anymore. Then.
Right.
So you're not at that point. Whatever route God puts you in.
Yes.
Now you're getting off that route to go wherever the enemy is like tempting you to go.
Okay.
So something like at that point, it's like you're not keeping God with you while you're doing it. And because that's the big part. You always got to keep God with you in whatever you do. So for example, I don't think you should ask for fame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like. At that point, because I feel like that's kind of like a selfish thing, It's like, why do you want fame? Yeah. Because I want people to adore me. I want power. I want.
You got pride.
Don't ask for
I want
that.
the world's exception.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't ask for that, right?
I want the world's validation.
100%, if you ask for fame and then you start getting famous, but you knew you did something out of God's will. You did something out of God's way to get that. God's not he's not involved in that. Now the devil took over.
The thing is, but I also hear what like Naomi's saying is like sometimes when we pray with this posture of heart of like we go to God with this posture of heart of I want this. There's a difference when you go and pray to God and say, God, if it's in your will, because at that point, sometimes the dangerous part I think about like when you pray out of the posture of heart of I want this. There's another dude on that line listening to your prayer. Yeah. Aside from God. Yeah. And so sometimes you get this temptation and you think, damn, is this from God? Like this might be it. This is exactly what I prayed for because it came from this is what I want. And it's so much more easy for you to be inclined to be like, yeah, this is from God. Mm-hmm. When in reality, I think when you go to God and say, God, I would love to have this, but you top it off, but only if it's in your will. If it's in your will, I think that's the very crucial part of it because when God reveals it to you, when you put that little catalyst on top, it's not this, is this from God? This is what I prayed for. I'm like, no, this is definitely from God. You know it, you know it's from him.
Really, really quick. I just want to say, because right now the scripture that was coming to my mind is that God promises to give you a hope and a future. So with your whole thing, with just that example with your dad, like, what if he like really wished like that for real, you know, and kind of jinxed himself. That if you got to look at the outcome, like if the outcome wasn't a hope and a future, like it wasn't from God, because I'm recalling times where I've prayed for God to like take my life. Like I've been in the depths of like pain where I just asked God, like, let me end this shit. Like I'm so fed up, you know? So I think that it is be careful what you wish for kind of thing. But like when it comes to like be careful what you pray for, I definitely can agree to that. But my spin on that would be when you ask God for wisdom or when you ask God for strength, right? And then you like lose your dad. Not that God was like planning it that way to like be like, okay, I'm gonna take your dad to give you this strength and this wisdom, but like you want strength, you want wisdom, like be prepared to go through a lot of pain. Like I'm not just gonna give you
strength. I'm not just gonna give you wisdom. That I was making.
Is that
okay, like that? Like it's like that's why I mean, be careful what you ask because it's like, yo, if you want this, you might not get in the way that you want it.
Okay, it's not gonna come in it's not dressed in the package that you. Yes,
exactly.
It reminds me of that story where like the apostles were arguing amongst each other to see who was like going to be the best, you know, who was going to be Jesus's right hand man in heaven, you know. And then I believe like Andrew came up to him and said, the two brothers came up to Jesus and said, Jesus, don't forget us when you're in heaven. Allow us to be your right hand. Allow us to sit at your right hand. And he responds with like, you don't know what you're asking, you know. And I think they didn't understand, like, enable for you to have that position, there's a lot of suffering that has to come along with it. When we pray, sometimes we can't pray mindlessly and really look at and analyze, okay, what am I asking for? And even that itself is that step that we're talking about, you know. Don't just give this prayer that you've only had one run through of like, this is what I want. Right, you know, you should be able to sit there for a little bit and be like, what do I like? I want that, but is there a meaning? Is there an underlying meaning? I should read between the lines of what my heart is really craving in that moment.
Well, so very good point where you said a point, I forgot what it was, but I remember I told you that I was like, man, shame on me for saying my dad's gonna survive this, bro. God's plan. I know God's plan. That was my mistake. Being like, I know God's plan, bro. My dad's gonna like make it. It's all good. And then when it didn't happen, I was like, yo, shame on me for saying like, I know what God's plan is for me.
You know what?
But I'm gonna forgetting this, bro.
Please,
you know how you and me are, bro. We're gonna forgetting this. Run that back. We're now later. I'm like, bro. All right. So
the screenshot of our thumbnail, just all of us like
no points are going to be made, bro.
Go, please.
I remember what I said. I kept saying, bro, God's plan. I kept telling you guys with confidence, I'm following God's plan, but shame on me for thinking I knew what God's plan was. Because I can tell you this right now, bro, what I'm feeling right now in my heart, the peace that I feel, what I'm doing, where my mind is at, like everything is what I've always wanted. I just never thought I was gonna receive it this way.
Yeah.
I thought for me it was gonna be, my dad beats cancer. It's a moment that scares us and brings us together as family, and then we move on with life, right?
Yeah.
I get married with Selena. I have children.
Yeah.
I do video, and
Yeah.
like my family's fed off that, right? Like this is just a bump in the road to test my
Fairy tale
fate.
ending.
Fairy tale ending, exactly. And now where I'm at right now, I'm just like, wait, my dad's not here, right? But I feel much closer to him than ever.
Yes.
And because my biggest thing has always been like, I don't care about fame. I don't care about none of that. I don't want it. Talking to people scares me. I know, like, I talk a lot, but like when people like come up to me, like I get like freaked out.
Yeah.
What I want is stability and peace.
Oh, I love it.
And like that's all I want. The biggest thing is peace. I just want peace, bro. Even if like the glass business don't work out or the video like stuff doesn't work out, and I just want peace. What I felt when my dad passed away and how life keeps moving, this is just what I want. And I just asked God, like, I'm like, yo, I don't want no materialistic stuff. I just want peace in my heart.
Have you always felt like that, or do you feel like you felt like that after your dad passed?
No, after 100%.
Okay,
no,
yeah.
Yeah, not before.
So they taught you that what
That's what they
matters
taught me.
is peace. Oh, that's
What
that's
matters
so
is peace.
beautiful.
What
That's so
matters is
beautiful.
peace.
Because
And
imagine chasing like forever. Because like even I find myself a lot of times chasing these things that I think I want, and you're like, you are the future of what realization that I'm gonna be like, peace was all that mattered. Like this didn't bring me peace, you know, and I have to, it's this tug and war that I have within myself.
Yeah.
And it, you know, having that moment that taught you that is something that, you know, people, oh my gosh, they chase for like years and years and years, and then they become 60 and they're like, oh, if I could go back in the day, I'll tell myself like peace was all that mattered. And you like literally fast forwarded your whole life grinding after the things that didn't even bring you what you were looking for. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that came after.
Oh no, yeah, it came after. Because before I thought I'm gonna have peace when I have my house and I have my children and all of that, right? The life that I thought like I was gonna have. But nah, I mean, this is not what I expected, and I just feel so at peace.
Right.
I feel just so happy. I'm so happy he's not suffering anymore.
Yes.
Dude, we had this thing where like even my brother told me, he's like, no, yeah, it's true. The day after my dad passed, I remember we went into the living room and he wasn't there anymore. Dude, I felt so happy and so peaceful.
Yeah.
Not because he died, no,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
because I'm like, it killed me seeing him in pain.
Yeah,
It killed, like, it was
hard.
the worst thing ever, and it just ruined me. And going into the living room and knowing no more suffering, no more chemo, no more none of that, I was just like, oh God, just give me a sign that he's with you and that he made it there.
Yeah.
But like,
It's just that
no more
peace,
suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say that was the hardest part of like the?
Yeah, I don't know. And crazy thing too, it's like knowing that he had peace. That's what really calmed me
big.
down.
Yeah.
Dude, we had this moment where when I called you and I told you I'm not doing Dream State because of I was like, yo, he's gonna pass today. My aunt, which is like, dude, my it's funny, they both said the same thing about each other. My dad always says like, my aunt, which is his sister, that's like his daughter.
This is the one that he pretty much raised.
Yeah. And then she always says like, she told me too like that when she came down, she was like, hey, like, you know, your dad is not my brother, that's my dad.
Oh wow.
You know, and we shared this moment where I remember like she told him, she was like, you know, Hector, like, you don't have to fight anymore for us. Like if you're tired, like it's okay,
Yes.
you've done it. Like
Give him that
you
peace.
did it. Yeah, like you don't have to be in pain for us.
Yeah.
And I remember for like a split second, I was just like, yo, don't tell him that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what if
You're
he
like,
listens?
Fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
listening, like, shh.
Yeah.
Oh, you keep fighting. No. And like I remember like I held him and I was like,
All crowd, viejo.
no, I was like, don't you give up on me right now. And then I
Like
remember,
pull yourself together.
we still got more to fight. And like, yeah, I remember like I held him and I just told him, I was like, "Pa," I was like, you did it.
Yeah.
I was like, you did it. Your
Yeah, give
mission
him
in this
that
life.
peace.
I was like, you did
Yeah.
it, Pa. I was like,
Yeah.
look at where we're at.
Yeah.
I was like, you
That's
did it.
crazy.
You did your
Yes.
job.
Yes.
And then like, and I just felt his shoulders go.
Oh my
And
God.
I just held him and I was like, Pa, I was like, you did it though. Like, everything you wanted in life, you
Yes.
accomplished. Look at what you're at. I was like,
Yes.
you did it.
Yeah.
I was like, you're not leaving us. You're not. You're going to
Yeah.
be with us. You
Yeah.
taught us to keep everything going. Everything you built is going to keep going.
I'm so glad you said that to your dad, because I've heard it said before that like when you're dying, it's not the fact that you're dying that breaks your heart. It's just the fact that you're leaving your people. Like you don't want to leave your people because you're like, I don't know if they're gonna be okay that I'm gone. Especially as a father, you know, like, and especially a young father, seeing his kids. Like obviously you guys are all grown, but you guys are still very young, you know.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he looks at you guys, and just to give him that peace, because remember how I told you my aunt had passed away literally the same week. And one of the, like, a really big regret I had was that there was a time where we were giving our goodbyes when she was in the hospital, and she was barely able to talk, but I know that she could understand like what I was saying. And I told her like that she was the best tia in the world, and like giving her that peace. And I just started breaking down, like crying, and as soon as I started crying, like she closed her eyes. Like it was like she didn't want to see, like I don't want to see that sad shit, like you know. But I wish that I told Michael later on, I was like, I don't think there's a right way to do that, especially your first time. But like the next time I'm in a situation where I see someone dying, I'm just gonna give them that peace, like, yo, it's gonna be so amazing, like just rest, you're okay, like let God take over now, and just know that like we're here, you're not going anywhere, like you're gonna be flying. And like just to give them, because I think that's like I know that they're scared too,
100%.
and I know that she was scared, and that's something that I wish I could go back and, but it's now new lessons moving forward. But it gives me so much joy to hear that you did that for your dad, because I just couldn't imagine, like he's just like, oh.
You said something that it's like, dude, it's funny. My aunt said the same thing. You said that when you started crying, it's like she closed her eyes, like she didn't want to hear it and see that. One of the things that I applaud my family, and I'm very proud of them, is that when my dad passed, like I told you guys, we were all around him. We were literally, everybody was holding a piece of him. I was holding his leg. We were all holding a piece of him. My mom, my sister, like his sister, everybody was there, right? We prayed the rosary, which he had the strength to tell us. So, all right, so this is crazy, right? Mm-hmm. So, the morning we woke up, I remember my aunt just looked at me and she goes, "Mijo, it's time. Like, wake up your brother and your sister."
Yeah.
And I was kind of like numb. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." So then like, I went to go wake him up. Told my mom and everybody. Everybody came to like the living room, and we were all just like holding him. And then I think it was like my sister or somebody asked, they were they were giving him like a TPM bag or something, which is like an IV bag with fluids and stuff, and he just didn't want it. He didn't want none of that. He didn't want like nothing. He just, he was like disconnecting himself from stuff like the days prior. I think he knew already. He was like, "Yo, it's my time to go. I don't want nobody trying to like," and it was crazy because I remember that morning we told him, we're like, "Body wants to pray the rosary for you," and he just goes, "Mm-hmm." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." We prayed the rosary, which is something he told me too that he just wants. He's like, "Mijo, you guys just need to keep praying the rosary for me." Yeah. I was like, "Okay, cool." So, dude, I remember we all prayed the rosary. We went through the whole thing. It was probably like 20 minutes, and I remember like my sister was like holding him up, right? And then we told him like, "Body wants to lay you down," and he was like, he just shook his head, and we're like, "Okay, cool." And we laid him down. Silence, bro. Nobody said anything. We just held him, and we just laid there with him, but the whole house just felt peaceful. Yeah. And like I just remember like looking up at him, like I was like holding him, and I just like looked at him, and I was like, "Oh man, he's gone." Wow. And I was like, it was weird. I imagined in my head like he was like floating over us.
Oh yeah, like seeing his bird's eye view.
Yes, like, he's like looking at us, and I was just kind of just like, I see
that too.
Yeah, like, hey bro, like we good down here. Yeah. And my aunt, like, she said something. She was like, she said, "I wanted to call your grandma and have her on FaceTime, but I knew she wouldn't be able to bear it, and I knew she would have been crying, and she would have been yelling, and it would have hurt your dad to hear his mom in pain." Yeah. He goes, so we were all quiet. He went so peacefully, didn't make a sound, nothing. He just went in so much peace. And my aunt shared a story with me that she knows somebody that like when I think it was like it was like a dude. I forgot the relation, but when he passed, his mom was like in the hospital like yelling, and because I mean, bro, like it's, you know what I mean, like can't blame her.
Yeah,
and
it's harder.
and you could see like the son, like he was like calming down, and once he started like like passing, she started freaking out, and he started kind of like
jittering,
and they were like, yo, he's not being able to transition in peace.
Yeah,
and
that's good. That's crazy.
We didn't have that.
That's good.
Like everybody in the crib was like, and we were all peaceful, we were chilling, we're like, okay, cool, no more pain. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's like we love him so much that we're just like, dude, whatever to get this pain to stop. And yeah, man, like after that, it's obviously the family got very, very tight, but I don't know, man. It was, if I kept checking on them, we kept checking on each other, just being like, yo, where's your head at? How do you feel? And we were all just like, bro, we're sad, but it just hurt us.
Hurt you more to see him.
We mourned while he was still alive.
Yeah.
We were mourning like crazy when he was still alive.
Yeah.
And like, even like now that he's gone, dude, like I can honestly tell you, like, it's weird. Like, I thought my house would have felt empty. I thought it would have felt just sad, like something's missing.
Yeah.
But no, man, the house has more life than ever. And it's funny, I should tell my mom this. I had this weird thing, man, where I don't like cemeteries. Because I don't feel like the person's there. I feel like that's the shell that God gave them, but that's not who they are.
That's not where they are either.
So my mom mentioned to me, she goes, she said, hey, did you go see your dad? And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, yeah, did you go to the gravesite to go see him? And I was like, you know what? I'll be honest with you. Every time I go to the gravesite, I'm always just there kind of like, he's not here though.
Yeah. Like he's here if I ask him to be here because I called him here.
Yeah.
But he was like, why'd you call me over here? Like,
like, bro, I was literally just with you. I rode with you.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that. I was like, you were in the car.
We literally were riding together. Why are you bringing me here? You know? And and that's what I felt. I genuinely felt that. I was like, I don't know. I'm looking at like the stone. Yeah. Because I remember too, like when we saw him at the viewing and I saw him in the casket, dude, I had this feeling of just straight out like, oh, that's not like the man that I love. It wasn't the shell. It was who he was. It was his spirit.
Isn't that crazy?
His character. Dude. And I felt, this is like messed up, but it's pretty funny. This is what I told my mom. She started laughing, so I think I could say it. But I told my mom that when I saw his body, and I saw like, you know how they apply makeup on you and everything. Yeah. I saw him, and I'm not lying to you. I pictured like him standing next to me and just being like, mira. Mira cómo me deja.
Yeah.
And that reaction, if you see my dad's face when he gets annoyed,
he's like
just like he's like, mira. ¿Y mi gorra qué? Dude, I genuinely felt like he was like looking at me, and like I was looking at him like, damn, pa, mira cómo te pintaron. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, wow. I was like, okay. I was like, the shell it's not.
It's just flesh.
It's just flesh.
It's just flesh.
Yeah.
Well, but like the spirit, the character, the experiences, like that's never gone.
Yes.
That's here with me still.
Yes. Because where did that go?
Dude, it
not
never
there.
went. It's always it's his spirit is always here. That show, it's like it was just a temporary thing.
Yeah,
right?
I think. Sorry, really quick. I was gonna say like the life. What makes me believe in like spirits and souls and stuff is like when I remember as a young little girl seeing my grandma in the casket and then like having that epiphany, like it's like you said, it's almost unrecognizable, like that they're not there, they're not like, so where does that go? Like where does it just like, it doesn't just disappear, it's everywhere, and it's not confined to the body, but it's like wind, like anywhere can float, and I think that's so crazy. Like it's just such a crazy concept.
Because it's also like every time so for example, the glass business, right? I feel even closer to him because every time I run into an issue with like a shower door or with an order or something,
you hear his voice
immediately, and I'm like, wow, like we've done this before.
Or
when
you
did we do that one
something.
time?
Yeah.
Or dude, I be arguing with him all the time in my head.
That's so good.
Yes, I be telling my brother all the time. I'm like, dude, I argue with him every day in my head. Every time we're doing a shower door, and like I'll do my method instead of his method. I'll be like, I told you.
Yeah.
I've been telling you for so long to do it this way. It's like, but you don't listen.
Yeah.
So like, and it's for everything, bro. It's for everything. Like I'll be installing like the shower door, And then like I'll do like his method, it won't work. I'll do my method. I'm like, te dije.
Yeah.
Or sometimes like I'll do stuff that I used to get so pissed off at him for doing.
Yeah.
Like we'll be putting up a shower door, he'll measure, but no, it's off by 16th.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna be like off of 16.
Right.
And I would have been like, who cares? And I get so mad. And now that I'm doing these showers, I'll be like, no. It's off by 16. and then everyone will be like, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
You're right.
Right.
You are right. Like, this is the big deal.
Yeah.
And dude, this is one thing that I always tell God. Not only thank you for giving my dad such a peaceful transition, but thank you for giving me the time that you have given me with him.
Absolutely.
Because,
man.
bro, those work truck conversations, dog, have healed so much in me. So much in me, bro. It's healed stuff that I thought it was gonna take me years to heal. Nah.
Yeah.
Everything, bro. Like
Power of God, man.
power of God, bro. Because now even too, like I'll have a conversation with mom about my dad, and then same thing. Like she'll kind of express something like, "Man, I wonder if your dad ever blah blah blah." I'm like, "Oh, I'll tell you." Like he told me everything. I was like, "What do you want to know?"
Yeah.
And I'll tell him. I was like, you don't have to feel like this empty feeling of I'm never gonna get that answer. Where it's like, oh no, bro, he told me everything.
Answer,
So what do you want to know?
Yeah.
And then
Isn't that crazy how in that moment, not only do you have peace, you have an abundance of peace that you can actually give to your mom.
Yes.
So
And
I'm sorry. I just really want you to elaborate on those conversations, because I think that somebody could be listening to this podcast and, you know, have that hope, and maybe they might have somebody who's like nearing the end of their life, and just like those conversations that you said, that the stones that you didn't leave unturned. I would like you to talk about that.
the biggest thing, and I always tell all the homies, is talk to your parents. Talk to your parents, man. Talk to your mom. Talk to your dad. Have that hard conversation with them. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because it wasn't like that. With my dad, it wasn't just a one-day thing. We got super close. No, man.
Right.
It was years of me trying to talk to him, and he'd be like, yeah. You know what I mean? Being very dismissive.
Yeah.
Took a lot of me swallowing my tongue and just being like, you know what, man? Like, or sorry, swallowing my pride, and then being like, or biting my tongue and swallowing my pride, and then being like, okay, like, I want peace with him, so I have to keep doing this.
Wow.
And the biggest thing that I always tell people is like, yo, make peace with your parents, because the time that comes when they're not here, you are gonna heal so easy. And to parents,
True.
be vulnerable with your children. Don't put up this facade of like, mommy and daddy are gonna figure it out. Don't worry.
Right.
Because I can tell you this right now, dude. Like, it was great seeing my parents as superheroes, but when I saw them as humans, when I saw them as like, oh, you're scared, you're in pain,
Yeah.
you don't know what to do,
Yeah.
and you're expressing this to me, I felt an honor. I felt like,
right.
you trust me for you to tell me these things. And so for the parents, it's like, yo, be vulnerable with your children, man. Like, if you're scared, tell them. If you're scared, tell them, because the superhero thing, like, to your kids is cool, but what's even better is like reminding them that you're a human.
Yeah.
And that's what I always tell the homie. I was like, dude, it's hard, man. It's hard because you also got to look at their background. They're not used to that. They're not used to talking. They got trauma unresolved.
Yeah.
And if you want it, bro, like, just do it. And it's gonna suck. You're gonna fight. It's gonna be uncomfortable. It's gonna be awkward. But you're going to have so much peace out of it. Because I started telling my cousin Ruben when we went to his graveside, I was like, you know what's crazy, dude? I'm sad that he's not going to be here for like the birth of my children and marriage, you know, God willing. And oh, that's another thing, by the way. For everything I always say, I'm like, God willing.
I love that.
Yeah, I say that for everything now. Yeah,
God
that's
willing,
God willing, bro. Because it's like, if it's not in the books, it's not in the books, you know? But he gave me so much like advice, so much like stories, like everything, dude. Where now if my brother and sister are lost and they don't know what to do, I'm gonna be like, bro, you know what dad told me? And now it's like, oh, dad's still here. It's like, yeah, bro. Or if, for example, like my mom, when she had all these questions, and I was like, oh, I'll tell you. Like, he told me everything.
Right.
So it just brings a huge like sense of peace to everybody having those uncomfortable conversations. And that's one thing I always tell God. I'm like, I feel like that's why I'm able to still laugh and make jokes and be happy and, you know, look out for people and put myself second, because it's like I just have a lot of peace with this passing.
Yeah.
You know, I just have a lot of peace, you know, and it comes from that. It's just work through conversations, arguments, just stuff like that.
Right. I find it so fascinating and incredible and amazing the way that a connection with God will change the entire story of something. So what I'm talking about is like the same person in your exact, or sorry, not the same person, but someone else who is in the same exact situation could have completely perceived your entire situation a whole nother way. Like, I prayed to God. I thought he was going to heal my dad. He didn't heal my dad. So that just goes to show God is not real. And, you know, get so bitter, so get caught up and just get no fruit out of this. And I think one thing I just really want to give your flowers to you in this moment is that that was one of my worries for you, is that as much as I was praying and as much as we were pushing, I also knew that this is up to God. And certain things is that even though it may hurt so bad, God loves us so much that, one, he's got a spot with our Heavenly Father. So first of all, he's not going anywhere that's going to be scary or anything like that.
Yeah, fair.
But we do have to deal with the heartache that is going to be here on this present earth for you. But at the same time, God is going to, if I know God, he will turn the table. Like, you know, so I knew that for sure. But one of my fears was that you would lose faith in some way, or you would, and you completely, like, the
That's
next
so funny.
day,
Maybe because I know him a little bit more, I didn't have that thought at
feeling?
all. That's
Yeah.
why I was able to confidently tell him, like, I don't know what God is going to do, but like, it's,
you know why?
it's going to be some crazy.
Exactly. But you know why I had that fear? Because of how much Oscar was like, he's gonna heal him. I was like, if he is so set in that I'm afraid that if it doesn't go that way for some reason, then his heart might break.
Going on that, because I've been wanting to ask you this. You did have that mindset, like, God's gonna come through. This is gonna be part of the story. Like, right. What helped you let go of that? What helped you be like, okay, this may not be that plan? Was there a moment that you can remember?
Nah, I just started feeling like peace with, like, well, you know, maybe this isn't the plan.
Yeah.
It was just random. I just felt it. I
were
just
just
like
on the ride with him.
You know what it was? While all of this was happening, I didn't feel like I didn't feel scared.
Right.
I didn't feel alone. I didn't feel like my life is also leaving with him. I just felt very, like, at peace.
I want to pause you there, though, because I feel like whenever because we also got to, like, say that you did feel scared at times, because, again, like, I'm just always thinking about the perspective.
So, yes. It's more so the final days.
Yes.
Oh, no. I was scared. Like,
yeah.
But the final days, when I really started feeling that peace in me, which was like the final maybe like week, the peace overshadowed me being scared. Right. But I was scared for years since he got the diagnosis. Oh, but I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, you know what? Yes, you were scared, but at the same time, I feel like when it comes to fears, like, it's the daily giving it to God and, like, being like, God, I'm scared today, and then he makes you feel better, and then, like, something else happens or you get a test result, you're like, I'm scared again. Like, God, I know you said it's gonna be okay, but I feel like one thing I realized with you is that anytime you did get scared, you would put that on the altar for God, and you would, like, I'm scared, but I prayed over it. And you're like, actually, I'm okay. Like, it was so up and down, like, or sorry, down and then immediately up, like, down and immediately up, like, for you.
The best I can explain it is this. It's like if I went skydiving. It's a scary thing. Like, the plane could crash. Yes. The instructor's parachute cannot go off, right? I'm scared, but my trust in, like, that the parachute is gonna go off. This is safe, you know.
That's
that
good.
has overshadowed me being scared, right? So whereas, like, I can do these like, I can get on a roller coaster, right? Like rest in peace.
Outcome, the parachute gonna come up.
I don't know if you guys heard about the poor dude that, like, passed at Six Flags.
No.
No, well, he was on the roller coaster, and I guess it braked really hard, and he ended up, like, hitting his head. Yeah. And, like, unfortunately, like, he passed, and but it's that thing where it's like, I'm pretty sure when they were riding the ride, they were scared, but they were also very, like, damn, you know what? That's not actually. Never mind. I cut that out. That's not a good point. That's not a good point because then people be like, so he trusted in the ride and he still died. I'm like, oh,
so that's where we end it. So don't be trusting nobody.
No, but I know what you're saying. Like,
but yeah, I felt like I was like, the trust that I had in the instructor when I went skydiving is the same trust that I have in God.
Yeah.
Where it's like, even if I'm scared, I know that God is just going to be like taking care of me.
Oof.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm so happy that I found God when I did. I felt like all the pieces to the puzzle started falling in. I felt like you started getting close to your faith at the right moment. Like, everything, because then we started talking about God. We've never talked about God ever. And then when we started talking about it, we started getting deep into it. And even now we're constantly getting deep into it. But it's like
that's like all we talk about now.
And that's all we talk about. And prayer, like my whole life revolves around God. And that's what I'm saying. That I'm like the final weeks. I'm like, I'm sad that if he passes, like he's not gonna be here for him to talk to me anymore. But like, I'm not scared because I know God's gonna take care of me. And when he passed, I just never had a day where I'm scared. Even right now, bro. Even right now that like my responsibilities in the house have changed and taking over the glass business and like still doing video stuff and like still like just all this crazy stuff. I don't feel scared because I'm like, even when I do feel scared, even with the recession. Yeah. And I'm just with the recession, I think like, oh man, like what if I don't get glass? Like jobs, and I don't get video jobs, and I don't make money.
You can spiral.
I don't have that. Yeah. I'm just like, hey, you know what, man? Like, it might happen.
You know what's that I love?
But even through that wilderness, I'll find a way.
Even with that, it's like, no, even if like it really goes bad and I die for some reason, I'm gonna be okay. Like that's exactly so like that's just where it's at now too. But
what I tell people is this. Because someone can hear this conversation, right, and say, yeah, well, it must be great to live in fantasy land, but there's people like us that are going through real stuff, okay? We all can't just, like, to imagine the figure. So the way I think about it is this way, is, okay, but now when you're going through stuff, you feel like it's all on you. You feel like nobody's coming to save you. You feel like if you fail, it's because of you. Yeah. And that's when you start getting so sad. That's when you start getting so anxious because it's like, it's all on me. Yes. I'm not saying that all I do is just wake up and I pray and I'm like, all right, opportunities are going to come. Yeah. No, that's not what it is. We're still human. You still got to work. You still got to go out there and like put in like the elbow grease to it. Yeah. But the thing is like, even when things get tough, I'm secured and I'm calm and that I have that. And if someone were to tell me like, how can you say that so confidently? Because I lost my dad. Yes. The number one fear that I had for these past 3 years happened, and I'm still at peace. Yes. And I'm still finding ways to just maneuver through life and maneuver through the hard stuff. That's why.
And the only thing that you can point.
That's so good.
To is God.
It's God. And so it's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, why do I have so much faith in this man? Because look at where I'm at right now. Look how I'm feeling. Look how I'm thinking. Look at the clarity that I have. It's because of that. If I didn't have that, I'd be like, that's it. My dad's gone. I'm screwed. Like, it's all on me. It is, and I don't feel that way. Yeah. You know, and that's what I always tell people. I'm like, dude, that's why.
There's a lot of freedom when you surrender.
There's a lot of freedom,
which people don't understand.
There's a lot of freedom, man.
Think, it's just so easy for you to give your life to God. It's like, no, bro, this walk can be very difficult. And I've said this on the podcast before, exactly what you said is the people who are out there and just like, we're going through real problems and they go through tumultuous situations and the only difference between you and I, because I am human and I go through those exact same things that you do, the only thing is I got a savior to run to.
What I love is that be like, oh, it must be so easy to rely on God or whatever, like you just said right now. And
rely?
Or what did you say?
You said lie, right? Right now you said lie. Rely on God?
Yeah. So rely on God, it's like so easy. It actually is easy. It's a lot easier than what you're doing to yourself, which is so much harder. Yeah. It reminds me of, I was just reading this in the Bible where Jesus says that my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Like your burden of doing it all by yourself is heavy. Like, would you give that to God? And would you let him help you carry it? Like, that is what I think about all the time. Like, it is easy.
I think about that all the time too. Like,
it's easier.
Those are like, those words are read in the Bible. Like, my yoke is easy. My burden is light. Yeah. And like, so whenever I honestly, those words replay over and over in my head when life is hard, because then I realize Michael, you're making it hard right now. I don't know what you're doing, but it's hard because you're making it hard right now. So you gotta recenter, you gotta refocus and figure out where that easy path is, because you know the one that's giving it to you is gonna be an easy path.
Oh yeah. I would say this though. When you start walking with God, your life also becomes very difficult.
Okay, really quick. If you want to get into that, we gonna have to make a part 2, because that is like something I really want to talk about, because that's been like, you know how like every little like time of your life is like there's a new like theme.
Yeah,
that's
you analyzing everything.
Yeah, I was like, we about to like go for like 3 more hours if like you want to. So